my apologies for calling you too early. Would you now like to address us? Thank you. You have 5 minutes to speak, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Dr. Adi Katiri. I'm here on behalf of Barnet Alliance for Public Services and over 8,000 residents who've signed this petition asking for a referendum on the One Barnet programme. This petition, growing at a rate of more than 1,200 signatures a month, represents a groundswell opposing One Barnet. It's the second largest petition that's been presented in over 10 years, and yet we have little confidence that this administration will listen to the people it's meant to represent. Why? Because you've not consulted us about One Barnet, and until recently refused to discuss or debate it publicly. You've been close-minded when we've appeared before you at cabinet and committee meetings. Your questions to us were not about anything we said, but were feeble attempts to gain support for your own positions. You failed to answer substantively any of the detailed questions about One Barnet that we have asked. You've restricted the opportunity for open discussion of issues that concern residents at residence forums. In addition, you failed to listen to constituents on the disastrous contract with NSL, which has damaged the local economy, caused businesses to fail, angered residents, and is not making the promised savings. On the closure of Fry and Barnet Library and the thousands of pounds wasted on the ill-conceived fantasy of a landmark library. On the local authority trading company, Your Choice Barnet, which has been failing vulnerable people across the borough and losing money. For you, formulating policy seems to mean spending millions of pounds on consultants and promising what you cannot deliver. When it comes to scrutinising policy, you've dismissed the significant flaws and risks we've pointed out to you with superficial reassurances and rationalisations that convince only you. When charged with scrutinising the contract with Capita and your own lawyers confirmed that you couldn't change it, you didn't even ask, what if it's not safe? What will the results be? Instead of your guaranteed savings of between 41 and 120 million pounds, and do you even know how much it's meant to be? We predict lower so-called savings at the expense of reduction in quality of and wholesale cuts to services. You predict betterment. We predict the marginalisation of thousands of residents who don't use computers or mobile phones and will be lost in the capital's automated customer services system. The loss of a meaningful relationship between residents, their councillors and the council. A further erosion of democratic rights of residents to influence policy through the ballot box, and further damage to our economy, that is the loss of local jobs, the loss of business on the high street, further damage to libraries, and in all these ways, further damage to our community. That will be your legacy. You can go on blaming everyone other than yourselves and believing your fantasy improved economy. You will be gone from this building after the next election, but perhaps you will still be amongst us here in the borough, and you would wish you'd done a better job of consulting your neighbours. We will continue to campaign for our democratic rights, for good quality public services and against their sale to private companies, against unnecessary cuts and unnecessary payments to consultants, against each of you who supported One Barnet if you stand again for public office here or elsewhere, as we did in the GLA and with Brunswick Park elections.
1 minute left.
We will continue to campaign for the next elected council, whichever party it may be, to bring services back in-house if the contract with Capita goes ahead, and for a council that truly engages its residents. And we are not alone. The High Court has decided that the case for a judicial review brought by Maria Nash requires a hearing. It will come It will come before the court after 18th of March, which means you can't sign the contract with Capita before then. In this petition, the residents ask for their democratic rights to express their opinion on One Barnet in a referendum. We expect the council to scrap the One Barnet programme if the referendum so concludes. And, Mr. Mayor, this is the referendum. This is the request from residents for a referendum. Over 8,000 of them, and still growing, have signed this, and I present it to you.
Councillor Dermot